Sense? So we got to make sure that our jib sheet runs, especially in light air, right? Couple other just setup things to look at. We want to make sure that we get the lengths right on all of the kite setup. So to me, I like to have a shackle or something that's going to fix this length so that it's always the same every single time you do it. You know, if you're tying knots like this, when you untie and retie, it might be the same, but it might be like 1 inch off, and maybe that means your pole can't go out quite far enough, or maybe it can go out too far, right? So got to make sure that's the same every single time. Everybody should have a knot in this system inside of your pole. So I think this is probably too far, and I can't tell. I don't think this one has a knot in it. So you can see the pole can kind of slide freely along this line. And what you want is you want to put the corner of the kite where it's going to sit. So let's say when you're doused, the corner of the kite sits right there. So then this slack, when the pole is in, there should be a knot in this line, but inside of the pole in there, maybe with a ball on it, so that it pulls the pole in when you douse. And the way you do that is you untie it from here, you have to pull the line through the pole, tie the knot in the right spot. So you mark it, probably you could put some tape on it right here before you pull the whole thing out. Pull it out, put the knot in, pull it back through the pole, and now you have a knot inside of your pole that pulls your pole in. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm sure there will be another couple little things that we find as we go through. But here's a really big one, and this is one that we're gonna, that is relevant to us right now with what we're doing, is different people rig their trap systems different ways. To me, there's a couple ways that you can do it that are fine, and there's a couple things that you should always do. So number one is that these loops right here are dangerous. You can accidentally clip in to this loop if you're going to clip into the bail, right? And then you can't unhook. And so we need to make sure that you guys don't have these loops in the future, right? So to undo that, one thing we could do just for today is we could just take this bowline out and we could tie a figure 8 right there, right? Or a double overhand knot like this. And you could put a ball on there. Some people put a ball on there. But that gets rid of the loop. And now we can't accidentally clip in and not be able to get back unhooked.
Is it still like simple to take on and off though?
Yep. So to get this on and off, you just go out like this.
Okay.
Right? To get it back on, you make a little loop in it. You stick it through there. You go around itself. Like that. So that's a good one. The girls that I coached in the 49er wanted to reduce as much weight as they possibly could, and so instead of having a ball or a big knot right there, they literally just tied 2 half hitches every time they went sailing. Right? Had a knot in the end, tied 2 half hitches. But I think that one way or another, I think before we go sailing this afternoon, we should all take the loops out of our trapeze system so that we can't accidentally clip it, okay? The one other thing that I would say about this system here, so you guys are continuous through the back. What is the benefit of this bungee here? There's 2 things that can do for you.
It makes it so that this never like loops around on itself, or that this doesn't really, I don't know.
Totally.
It's most Colin, what do you think it does?
Yeah, well, it keeps the, mostly it keeps the rudder from getting tangled back there, which is a big help, especially if you're like trying to do some like maneuvers and like dead stop maneuvers with starting. It's good.
Totally. So does everybody understand that? When you're on the starting line and you're standing there and you're on the line, your main sheet's slack, if you don't have something holding your bridle down here, it's really easy for your bridle to accidentally get wrapped on your tiller. Right? Has anybody had that happen before? Yeah,
we
everybody.
click the bungee.
Yeah. So something to kind of clean this up and keep it out of the way. The other thing this does, and the reason that a lot of people have this, is that when I was sailing these boats back in the dark ages, a lot of people sailed with double tiller extensions, right? And so like in the 49er, we have double tillers, and this bungee keeps the second tiller from going in the water down to leeward. And so if you're gonna rig a bungee back here, one thing that I would recommend is instead of rigging the bungee like this so that it's separate from this Spectra, you can rig the bungee inside of that Spectra so that it just sucks it all down. And then you don't have this extra line back here that you can accidentally, you know, again, like I'm big on trying to reduce things that you can accidentally get caught on, accidentally get clipped into.
Another reason I like it, having this so long, is that it gives me a lot of stretch in this.
Yep.
I can go all the way back without having to worry about this at all.
So one of the if I were gonna rig your boat, what I would recommend, and I think what you see on most of the top teams these days, is that they go down through this hole, they come back underneath the rail here, they go through this bungee up on the bow, right? And then they go back to this hole on that side. And that gives you enough scope that if you pitch pull and you get slung around the kite or something like that, you're not gonna break your bungee. Does that make sense to everybody? So there's all these little ways that you can tweak the boat, that you can improve the rigging. And to me, they're free points. If you make the changes early on, it's gonna make your training more effective because you're not gonna get distracted by breakdowns. And it's gonna make you able to just go out and focus on, you know, on what you need to focus on. So let's go ahead and get into some of this boat handling here. So